insight or knowledge or wisdom to know this could be a potentially multiple six-figure one deal. Let's talk about your, you spoke about your coaching student, who made a deal. He did $105,000 from his first.
Yeah. I guess 2 guys were outside of the complex, and somebody did a drive-by shooting, and they got hit, and they ran into one of our units, and they were just bleeding there, dude.
Bleeding in your unit?
Yes.
See, why did it take you 8 months to get your next deal after that?
So I closed that first deal, and I thought it would be, I thought I didn't have to invest back into my marketing or back into my knowledge. I just used that money to pay off my debt.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, we closed like a $260,000 wholesale deal for raw land,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that a lot of people are not really
targeting.
They're really not targeting it, man.
Yeah.
It's usually, look, the biggest deals
can cloud your judgment sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And,
yeah, man.
It's, from what it sounds like, it's almost like ego got a little bit in the way too, right?
100%.
Yeah.
You know something that I always say is that your last win is your worst enemy.
Welcome to another episode of Pick Up the Phone podcast. I'm your host, Josue Llanas. I'm the CEO of Bancom.io. I specialize in helping companies with marketing and AI. Today's guest is Willny Gifaro. Willny has closed to over 500 wholesale deals. He consistently closes 6-figure deals, including a record one that you closed for $700,000. I really want to talk about that deal. And you own 37 units. You also have a really great project that I think has a lot of good learning lessons that I think a lot of the viewers could take a lot of gold takeaways from it, the 21 unit. But Willny, thank you for being here, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, man, where do we start? Let's start at the beginning, bro.
For sure.
How did you get started in real estate, bro?
Man, great question. So I first got started in real estate back in 2015.
2015?
Yeah, so almost a decade.
Dang.
More than a decade ago.
Yeah. Wow.
I came across a video online of Sean Terry, right? He was the only guy preaching wholesaling at that time, and I bought his book. 8 months later, bunch of trial and error.
Yeah.
Closed the deal. My first deal, maybe like 2 weeks after graduating high school.
2 weeks after graduating. So right after graduating high school, you started reading the books and went right into it.
Yes.
That's crazy.
But I didn't get another deal for like another 8 months. Yeah. Sucks, but part of the journey.
Yeah. So let's talk about that real quick, man. It's 2 weeks after you're graduating high school. Let's go back in time real quick. You just graduated high school. You read this book. What's the name of the book, by the way?
How to Quit Your Job in 19 Weeks or Less.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. So what did it teach, and what process did you follow to have success?
Really just the process, the process of finding deeply discounted real estate and assigning it for a profit.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Sean Terry post like a $10,000 check, and I was blown away at that time. I was like, I believe I was 17 when I originally read the book, and yeah, right. It was the following year that I actually closed that deal, 2015.
2015.
So it took me all that time. Literally, all my senior year was consumed with real estate.
Really?
Nothing else. I blocked everybody that wasn't having anything to do with closing a deal or getting better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it worked out.
How did you find your first deal?
Craigslist.
Someone was selling the property on Craigslist.
So I made a post on Craigslist saying that I buy houses, this and that.
Yeah.
And some guy named John Henderson called, and he told me, "Yeah, I got a property I'll sell you." And I tied it up for $50,000. I sold it for $53,500. I found a buyer for $53,500.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy, man? 2 weeks prior to me signing that seller, signing the seller contract, I stopped at a for sale by owner house.
Yeah.
And a potential buyer for that house was there.
Mm-hmm.
and she introduced me to her mortgage lender 2 weeks prior to me signing that contract, and that mortgage lender was the one that ended up buying this deal from me.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
synchronicity, huh?
Synchronicity, man. Everything happens exactly at the time that it's supposed to happen.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, looking back, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
How that came about.
Yeah.
So
it's always like when you're ready to get something done, like everything will always align for you to be able to achieve your goals.
100%.
You just got to make sure you put in the effort for it.
Exactly.
And you did, right? You were in it for like the full senior year, and you were able to get that deal. So let's talk about what happened next, bro. Why did it take you 8 months to get your next deal after that?
So I closed that first deal, and I thought it would be, I thought I didn't have to invest back into my marketing or back into my knowledge. I just used that money to pay off my debt.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until 8 months later that I closed my second one. And I can't remember where that lead came from, but yeah, I think I was already here in Houston.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, by the time that second one closed.
Yeah. So you went to high school where? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Broward County, Florida. So
Florida.
like south, a little bit north of Miami.
North of Miami.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Deerfield Beach.
Yeah.
Pompano.
Yeah. So you were born and raised over there, and then what made you come to Houston?
So in between that whole senior year, I spent majority of the year putting sellers under contract, but backing out.
Yeah.
And that did something to my confidence, because I would lock up these high contracts, and I would send it to investors, and they'll be like, "Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Where are you finding your numbers?" And it kind of, that kind of brought me down, So I thought it was a good idea, man. Let's just start from scratch in another market.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe 4 or 5 months after graduating high school, that's when I drove 1,200 miles to Houston. No friends, no family, no nothing over here, no connections. And with the sole intention of being a real estate investor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
thank God it happened. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything seems like to have lined up for you. So
yeah,
it worked out.
Glory to God, man.
Yeah. Dude, that's got to take a lot of courage, right? Like just mental fortitude to pick up everything, come to a new city, you don't know anyone, and you just walk in, you're like, hey, I'm gonna make it out of here.
Yeah.
What was your thought process like?
Great question, man. So my thought process at that time was, I don't want to be a leech to my family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't come from a rich family, and I'm over there sleeping in their house. I can't pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying any food. I don't have any bills under my name. I don't want to burden my family,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've always I mean, that's what was running through my mind, and I said, man, I'm gonna just move. I'm gonna just move out of here and see what happens,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was quite a trip. But yeah, eventually I got to Houston, and I found a job as a cold caller at a real estate company that wholesaled multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really got me, into the groove of things, talking to sellers and whatnot and looking at deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, man. And so that was when you moved over here to Houston?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Were you able to get like where were you living? What was your living situation like?
So as soon as I got to Houston, I slept in my car the first day. Then I went to hotels, and eventually, I think it was like a week and a half later, I found a room for rent on Craigslist, and it was $450. I'm a young guy. I don't have no bills, no kids, no nothing. Yeah, let's do it. You know, and I moved into that room, and
yeah.
But
I think that forces you to grow up very quickly, huh?
1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up very fast, man. When I was 15, my mom, she was pregnant with my little brother, and she didn't have the resources to help me buy school clothes or school stuff, right? So I started working at 15, as You ever seen those guys are like on the corner of streets with a big old sign
Yeah.
passing out flyers and whatnot? Yeah, that was me at 15.
You did that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I did that for a few months, and then moved into McDonald's.
Yeah.
For like 2 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. So always been self-reliant. Go getter.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely, bro.
Yeah, man.
So let's talk about your second deal. How did you find your second deal?
If I'm not mistaken, the second deal came from, I know it was a pretty good one. It was a $20,000 deal. It was I believe this was a direct mail letter. Yeah, because when I was in that room that I was renting, I would literally handwrite a bunch of letters to a bunch of different properties.
Right.
And eventually a seller called, and they had a triplex out in Pompano back home.
Yeah.
And I put her under contract at 70, and I sold it for 90.
90?
Yeah, 90,000.
Nice.
I made $20,000. I was working with Boris at that time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And it worked out. Yeah. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Boris is a great guy, man. He's a great friend. He's a mentor of mine. He's taught me a lot in commercial too, man. So
100%.
I shout out Boris, man. He taught a lot of the guys out here.
Oh yeah, bro.
When it comes
that's
to
that's an OG right there.
That's a triple OG right
that's
there.
That's a triple
OG. Dude, badass, man. So you got your second deal. What happened next? What was your next steps?
So the next step after that was try to do it again, So I would go, I probably went like a whole year, 2 years, just doing a deal every other month.
Yeah.
And not really investing back into my education,
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I got homesick. I left back to Florida, and I went and got a job. I went back to a 9 to 5 as a leasing agent at an apartment complex, and yeah.
If you're a real estate investor in Houston, Texas, you need to listen up. Andrew Fott with Renovo is the #1 lender with DSCR 30-year fixed loans. He can do 1 to 4 family. He can do 5 units plus. He can do commercial, anything you need. Andrew Fott is your #1 source for long-term financing. Right now, his current rates are high 5s to low 6s. He's got a 1 to 2 points in origination, and he can fund up to 75% loan to value, so he can refinance you, cash you out right out of that hard money loan that you have, no problems. And he's a direct lender, which means that you don't have to go through any AMC BS, right? So what that means is they have an in-house appraiser. No need to chase an appraiser to figure out how they do business. Renovo has it all in-house. They also have a in-house servicing company. So anytime you need any help with tax forms, any help with servicing your loan, Andrew is one phone call or email away to help you out. I'm a testament of this. He has one of my long-term notes, and it's always smooth as pie to get any sort of documents that I need. So Andrew's a relationship-based lender, meaning that if you're trying to figure out something with your loan, he can help you through it, guide you through it, and set you up for success. So if you're interested in a 30-year fixed rate loan, hit up my boy Andrew Fott with Renovo. His phone number is 210-425-2190. If you're a wholesaler in Houston, Texas, Kason Sullivan is the #1 guy to getting your deal sold in as little as 3 days. So Kason Sullivan works for the #1 buyer in all of Houston. This is called New Western. It's a massive operation. They have 20 to 30 dispo agents working around the clock to sell your deal as soon as you get it. All you need to do is, if you have your deal, call up Kason. If you give him just 2 to 3 days, if you give him property access, he can get you any number on any deal. They have a full closing team, so you don't have to worry about escrow, transaction coordination, any legal. And that gives you less time selling the property and more time to source your own deals. And that's how you scale your company. Casey Sullivan closed 72 deals last year, so you know that this guy is the real deal and an actual operator. You can reach out to Kason at 409-527-1115.
How long did that last?
That lasted a year.
A year?
Yeah. And then that's when I came back to Houston.
Yeah.
And invested into a mastermind that really just exploded everything for me.
What mastermind was that?
Carlos Reyes and Sal Shakir.
Okay.
Alex
Nice.
Sainz.
Yeah.
They had I forgot what the name is, but they had a mastermind for like $5,000.
Yeah.
And I remember, before that, when I was in Florida, I closed a big one over there. After a year of being at the job, it was like $36,000, and I used that money. I took my ass back to Florida, back to Houston, and I saw that they were selling this workshop, like a mastermind type of thing, and paid them $5,000, and I left to Arizona to really dial in on my business, actually create a business.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So
what did that teach you? What were the lessons learned?
it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot, man. Marketing, hiring, systems, processes, how to hire callers, how to invest in marketing, basically.
Yeah.
That's actually where I met my first business partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
So you met him at the mastermind?
Yeah. He was literally sitting right next to me.
Really? And he's from Houston?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You see how everything just aligns,
Yeah,
dude?
synchronicity.
Synchronicity, man.
Yeah.
Everything is supposed to happen exactly how it's going to happen, So,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Amazing. So you guys met, and then you guys get back to Houston. You're like, all right, let's run it. Let's partner up. You guys started doing deals.
Yes.
How did that go?
So it went well.
Yeah.
It went very good. We did a lot of deals that first year back, back to Houston with this new business partner. I think we did maybe like $400,000 in assignment fees that year.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it was pretty cool. It was the first time actually running an actual business with employees and systems, SOPs, all that type of good stuff.
Overhead.
Yeah.
You guys
So
had a Podio built out and everything.
exactly. Yeah. I was on Podio at that time. Yeah, man.
Back in the good old Podio days.
Exactly. Yeah.
Global Flow.
Yeah.
Call Omar. Hey, Omar, we need you to program this.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, what was during this whole process, right? What were your biggest learning lessons throughout? It seems like you're having a lot of changes in your life constantly, bro. It's not like just linear,
100%.
Whenever the gurus talk about it, they say it's supposed to just go straight up, bro. It's not like this, man.
I wish it was like that. Yeah.
So what was your thought process like during, these ups and downs and everything, moving back to Florida? What was all that like now, reflecting on it now?
Looking back at it now, man, I would say that the only, I never had analysis paralysis. So I feel like that right there, just being willing to take action and not have all the pieces to the puzzle figured out, it worked to my benefit. So I guess looking back, the thought process was just gratitude and take action. You got to be grateful for where you're at, but you still got to take a crazy amount of action, and you just can't be afraid to fail. It was a big hit to my ego back when I went, after making $10,000 fees, $20,000 fees to go back to a job, but I knew for a fact that it was setting me up to succeed.
Yeah.
So I always knew that this was a temporary setback,
right? And
that God was putting me here to basically teach me a lesson, and yeah, man, strong faith, lots of gratitude, even if you're going through the roughest patch of life, dude, you got to be grateful. You have to be grateful for it. It's trying to teach you something.
Right.
The problem is a lot of people, they want to figure everything out themselves. They want their own plans to dominate their journey, and you can't do that. You gotta trust in God's plan. God's plan is bigger than yours. It's 1,000% bigger than yours. So I always had that mentality going back when I was starting off, and I feel like that's what got me to where I'm at. Really, my mindset, the way of thinking and looking at things.
Right.
But yeah.
And that's really like that's something so simple to that can set apart, someone from success or failure, right? Because true failure is when you just give up, right? Failure is
Yep.
just a temporary setback, and you can get back on your feet and keep on going after that. Learn your lesson, and then go do it again.
Exactly. 100%.
But as long as you don't commit the same mistakes, right?
Yeah.
That's a key takeaway there.
That's a key takeaway.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
For sure. So, so you have your partner. You guys close $400,000 worth of real estate, wholesale fees. What happens next after that?
I would say like maybe 2 years later, I end up buying him out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So something that I've learned is that if for a partnership to proper, correctly, you gotta have a visionary and somebody that just integrator that just gets things done. And me and him were both visionaries, we both had that mentality, and we were not too focused on the tech and whatnot, even though I'm pretty good at tech, but the back end stuff. But so yeah, I ended up buying him out, and yeah, took it upon myself to grow it by myself, with my team. After that, after I bought him out, we ended up making 1.1 million, 1.1 million that following year. And I think this was probably 2021, 2020, something like that. And yeah, so it worked out, it worked out.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
What was that conversation like, to have that conversation to say, hey, we're both visionaries. It's time that we part ways.
Great question, man. So the conversation was pretty frank, man.
Yeah.
You gotta say things al chile.
Yeah.
Al chile, bro. Yeah, dude. I told him straight up, man. Hey, look, I'm the one doing everything. I was the main force, right? I'm driving the ship, but still a business partner, and he wasn't really doing much. He'd help with ideas and whatnot, but he wasn't selling no deals, not helping me buy more deals, and I still had to do 50%. Nah, So, yeah, man, I ended up buying him out, and he understood. He understood 100%. But yeah, man, pretty frank. The conversation was pretty frank and straight to the point. No sugarcoating, nothing.
Yeah. It's the best way to do it.
That's the best way to do it, man.
Rip the Band-Aid.
Exactly, dude. A lot of people are afraid of confrontation, man. I take it head on, dude.
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
Nah, man, I don't got no time for that.
Right.
So yeah,
good. So 1.1 million. When did you do this $700,000 land deal?
That was the following year. That was
2022. 2022?
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. So 2021, you did 1.1 in revenue. What would you say attributes your success to that year?
Spending a boatload of money on marketing.
Yeah?
Yeah. We probably spent maybe $250,000
on marketing
that year on marketing. Yeah.
What kind of marketing?
Direct mail, cold callers, SMS, RVMs, a little bit of everything, and it worked out well. It was we did really good that year, man.
Yeah.
Why lie? But the following year was pretty good too.
And so what was your team compromise like at that point? Did you had like acquisition agents, dispo, everything?
Yes. Yeah. So I had the whole acquisition managers, dispo managers, transaction coordinator, everybody in house. It was, I had a little trouble earlier on in my journey. I hired a bunch of people. I had to let everybody go.
Yeah.
I was burning through money, man.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to effectively manage people. I didn't have the right leadership skills.
Right.
I wasn't really focused on the people. And when it comes to like their training, and when it comes to giving them constructive criticism and whatnot, I wasn't really a good leader. So yeah, I mean, I probably had one guy it was only one guy that stood with me the whole year at that time. But everybody else that were here maybe 4 months, leave.
Yeah.
3 months, leave. And they'd get deals, but, it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of pressure. But I didn't know how to lead, so yeah, that's the cost for that. Turnover.
When you say you didn't know how to lead, what do you mean by that? How did you not know how to lead?
Put it like this, man. I was smoking weed with my employees.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was still doing hooligan stuff.
Right.
And really just not acting like a leader, you know? I wasn't listening to their phone calls. I wasn't really helping them out with deals. I thought it was as simple as just putting a butt in a seat and feeding them leads, but it's not like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't yeah, man, I just wasn't a good leader, you know? Yeah, so
Would you consider yourself a good leader now?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What do you do differently now to define yourself as a good leader?
Well, first off, I don't smoke weed with my employees.
Number one,
number
that's
one,
important.
right?
Full disclaimer.
Full disclaimer, yeah. I would say just studying leadership, man. Getting closer to God, reading the Bible, and really studying good leaders such as Jesus Christ.
Right.
You know, and actually practicing what I preach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that attributes a lot to my leadership skills right now, and just a willingness to help people grow, man. Like, I can't tell you the amount of deals that I've sold to actual employees.
Really?
You know, of course, wholesale deals.
No kidding.
You know,
Yeah,
man. And that wasn't a thing back then. You know, I wasn't really trying to do that. You know, because I was always in the mindset like, if I help them make way more money flipping, they're gonna leave.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and that's such a scarcity mindset.
Right.
You know, so now I'm mainly focused on like, how can I help my team make more money at the end of the day, and yeah. So I think if you have that mindset first, like, what is the best decision that for my team's sake, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that will increase those leadership skills. You
Yeah.
know, if you always put your team and God first,
Yeah,
and your team afterwards. So,
yeah. It's very insightful, man. I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that. So thank you for sharing that.
For sure.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the 700K deal, man. I mean, I think when you posted it, everyone in town was talking about it, dude. I remember I went to like a networking event, and you know Aldrich, right?
Yeah.
He came up to me. He's like, "Oh, did you see what Willny did?" You know, he's always wearing those flashy jackets and everything, and I'm like,
"That's a cool guy, right there."
He's cool, man. He's cool. Shout out Aldrich. He's like, "Oh my God, he did a big deal, blah blah blah, yada yada yada." And I'm like, this is hilarious because you know we were talking about that, but. Let's share here for all the viewers, man. Let's talk about that deal. Let's do a little case study on it, man.
For sure.
How'd you find it? How'd you negotiate it? How'd you find the buyer? What gave you the insight or knowledge or wisdom to know this could be a potentially multiple six-figure one deal? You know what I mean? Let's talk about that.
For sure, man. So that deal came from a SMS blast. You know? Yes.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and targeted large agricultural plots of land in major counties, you know, Harris County, Denton County, Kaufman, Dallas, Montgomery, everything, right?
Yeah.
And we sent out a text blast, and the owner, you know, for these 92 acres, because that's how much it was 92 acres total in Mesquite, you know. I still remember the address, man, 7200 Shannon Loop, Mesquite.
Yeah.
I'll probably never forget that address, you know. So he responded back and told us $950. That's how much he wants.
Yeah.
You know, and when I did my analysis, I saw that things were selling like around $20,000 an acre for bigger tracts of land. And keep in mind, I wasn't doing 90-acre plots of land before this.
Yeah.
I was mainly doing 5 acres, 10 acres, and then all of a sudden, a 92-acre opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
You know, so and there, to come back around on the analysis paralysis.
Right.
I don't have any fear about making offers on anything, dude.
Yeah.
Whether I did it or whether I have done it or not, like, I'm gonna shoot my shot, you know.
Right.
So yeah, we ended up putting it under contract, and the 3 months go by, no buyer. 4 months go by. Our boy Jared Graves hits me up and tells me, "Hey man, I possibly have a buyer for this, you know." And I was asking 1.65 million at the time,
Right.
you know, and we got it for 950, you know. And yeah, eventually he brought a buyer, you know, but he tacked on like 200 grand.
He tacked on 200.
He tacked on $200,000.
So Jared made 200.
Yeah.
You made 700.
Made 700. Yeah. And it worked out, man. It worked out, you know. We probably closed maybe 4 months later. 3 months later.
Why did it take so long? Surveys?
Yeah, surveys, and the option period was just massive, man. I'm talking about 60, 90-day option period.
On both the buyer contract?
Exactly.
Okay. What kind of option period or closing date did you put on the seller?
If I'm not mistaken, we made it a 6-month closing and or 7-month closing. I know it was a long time. And we did like a 4-month option period or something like that. Something crazy, you know, but multiple months, right? Yeah, because the bigger the property, the more due diligence that is going to be needed, you know, to find out if it's whether it's a deal or not.
Right.
You know, and yeah, man, that was a hell of a deal.
And so the seller understood that going in.
Yeah.
That you have to have a long closing date, long period date.
That's correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
He understood that.
Did he give you any objections to that?
Nope.
No?
Not at all.
You were just like, hey, I'm going to give you this price, but I need time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this, man, the biggest deals have always been the easiest to close.
They're always the easiest.
The easiest.
Yeah.
It's always the small $5,000-$10,000 deals where you're gonna be hurled a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be affidavits of heirships or dead people, probate, you know, missing wills and all this other stuff. You know, so the bigger the deal, the easier it is to close.
Yeah, I remember I did one deal and it was like hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. $3,000 or something, like so spot. Took like multiple months, and I'm like, what's up with this deal, bro? And over here we're closing like a $50K deal, and you're focusing all your time and attention. It just happens that way.
Yeah,
real estate, dude.
Yeah, man. You gotta love it. You gotta love it, dude. You know, I feel like that part right there is what really kept a fire lit under me when I first started. Yeah. You never know what your first deal is going to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It might be 3,500, it might be 20,000, it might be 100,000.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Check this out. So a few years back, I had a student that was part of my coaching, and this is not normal at all, right? But the first call that he made, he got it under contract. He made $105,000. The first cold call.
The first cold call.
Bro, it was a cold call.
Yeah. By the way, for everyone that's watching, this will probably never happen again.
Yeah.
This will probably never happen again to anyone. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like
a very small chance.
Very like 1 in a millionth chance.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Yeah, man. It's that was crazy. But that goes to show, man, that you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
It literally just takes one deal to change your entire life.
Right.
You know, to create that snowball effect.
Right.
And that's what really, really kept that fire lit under me, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, man.
Yep.
So
all it takes is one call.
100%.
You just got to pick up the phone right here, bro.
Exactly.
Man, so that's crazy, bro. So you got the deal, you got it sold. With the buyer, what kind of closing date and option period did you have with the buyer?
If I'm not mistaken, it was like a 60-day option and a 30-day close.
60-day option.
Yeah. It was pretty fast, and it was done all cash. You know,
with the buyer.
Okay. Yeah.
Where was the buyer? Like, where did it get the cash from? Did he sell a deal or something?
Where did the buyer get the cash? He has investors. Yeah. He brought in investors, and
what did they do with the land? Develop it or something, or?
I checked on that land a few months ago, and it's still like just exactly how it is. You know, I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but
it's weird.
I'm out of the deal, man. It's not my problem.
No. He got paid already.
Exactly.
Man, that's great. Let's switch gears here a little bit, and let's talk about I think a really good opportunity to share what real estate is really like.
Yeah,
is your 21 units in Cashmere Gardens in Houston. 77026.
Right.
when you bought that deal, I remember seeing it and I was like, damn, that's a tough one, dude. I remember seeing it. I remember seeing where it's at, and I'm like, I remember thinking to myself, like, Willny is either a mad fucking scientist and knows something that I don't, but like, what is he gonna do with this, dude?
Yeah.
Like, this is hood, bro.
Yeah, man. That one, that was a tough one, man.
And it looked tough, right? So I was like, I think that now that you have it all stabilized and everything, right? I think there's a lot of learning opportunities here for both experienced and inexperienced investors. So I'd really love to dissect this deal, bro, to share your learning processes throughout this deal, because I know it probably took you, what, a year, 2 years to stabilize?
Yeah. It didn't get stabilized till this year. Yeah. And I bought it 2 years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah, man. It took a long. It was a heavy haul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one.
How'd you find it?
My guy bought Boris. He sold that to me.
Okay.
I bought it for 1.2, 1.25, I think, and you know, I had like a $400,000
Budget.
$400,000 budget, 450 something like that. But I ended up going over budget like 200 grand. You know.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah. So that had to come out of my pocket.
Yeah.
You know. It was a heavy haul, man. I guess the biggest learning lesson for that one is, you know, you have to get multiple bids. You know, I thought I could do this by myself, do all the subcontractor work, and get it cheaper than 600. Because another buddy of mine's told me that, hey, look, man, this is probably gonna run you like around 600 grand or something like that. And I'm like, man, what are you talking about, man? It's not gonna run no 600 grand.
Right.
And eventually it did.
Yeah.
It did. So, you know, I would say just lean on more people.
Yeah.
Basically, I was on a high at that year. You know,
Yeah.
I just closed a massive 700 grand deal. I was on a high. I felt like I was on top of the world, that I could, that I knew everything, that I could conquer it all.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's great, bro. I think it goes to show, you know, sometimes how like big wins can cloud your judgment sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And,
Yeah, man.
You know, it's, from what it sounds like, it's almost like ego got a little bit in the way too, right?
100%.
Yeah.
You know something that I always say is that your last win is your worst enemy.
Yeah, bro.
It is your worst enemy.
Yep.
Mainly because you get that win, you start feeling yourself. You feel like you're on top of the world, you know, that you could conquer it all.
Right.
And you know, and yeah, man. So, and that could prevent you from growing, you know?
Right.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
So that is, your last win is your worst enemy. Of course you want to acknowledge it and, you know, be grateful to God for it. But at the same time, like, once you have a win, forget about it, you know? Move on, dude.
Yeah.
Move on, you know? And this is why I mentioned, like, before starting the podcast, like,
Yeah.
I kind of don't like talking about that deal because that's my previous potential.
Yeah.
I got a new potential now.
Right.
You know? And yeah, man.
So in retrospect, man, like, now that you're on the other side of that, right? You went through that deal, you went through the revenue, the 700 grand, you put it into this deal, the 21 units. Now you got it all stabilized. Now you're good again. How can someone combat a win and not make it your worst enemy?
How can someone combat a win?
Yeah. The mindset of, like, you know, that high that you're on and then still, like, get back to the grind, right? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely do, man. I would say literally just forgetting about it. That's all you got to do. Like, as soon as you get the contract or as soon as you close that deal, bro, just forget about it. It's done, you know?
Right.
Rent is due every single day.
Yeah.
You know? I had a win yesterday, but today I don't have a win. So I'm kind of at the same spot, you know? So rent is due every day. Don't even focus on your previous win at all, you know?
Yeah.
You have to move on very fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one thing about real estate, man. You have to have a consistent flow of wins.
Daily.
Yeah. You have to have this flow of wins.
One thing that I really like to say to add on to this, you reminded me of a quote. They say success is rented and rent is due every day.
Exactly.
So you got to pay your dues every day.
every single day, you know.
Mhm.
And honestly, it's I saw a reel the other day. Sales is a spiritual game,
Mhm.
you know. It's all spiritual, you
Yeah.
know. If you are in the, if you're in the mindset of, uh, hey, I got it all, and yeah, this is, I'm the best, right?
Mhm.
It's there. You are gonna breed arrogance,
Yeah.
and then the next few deals might not go the way you want it to go,
Yeah.
and that brings you down, right?
Right.
And if you keep thinking of yourself as down, like, oh man, I'm down and out, that's exactly what you're gonna attract. You're gonna continue attracting that type of stuff, man. So you have to have a good spirit, at all times, whether things are going well or whether things are going bad. You need to, yeah, you just need to have good spirits.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. That's to keep the gravy train going,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. So this 21 unit, man, you finally got to stabilize after 3 years. Let's walk a little bit more, case study on the deal. You bought it for 1.2 million, you put in 600, you're at 1.8. What has been, besides the construction and everything, what were the numbers looking like whenever you bought it? What did you think it was
So when
gonna
I
be
bought
worth?
it, I got an appraisal for it at 2.4.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.4 million. Obviously, that's not the value of it now,
Oh, yeah,
So I
yeah.
took a massive hit on the value of the property due to the higher interest rates. So it's worth maybe closer to 2.1,
Mhm.
and
But you're still all in at 1.8.
yeah, 1.8, and yeah, I mean it's still fine, but yeah, I would say the biggest lesson that I've learned just being in this deal is how crucial good management is.
Mhm.
The quicker you get things done
Mhm.
in the rental space, right? In the rental portfolio world,
Yeah.
the happier your tenants are going to be,
Right.
Like I just made a post yesterday. I haven't had an eviction in months.
Yeah.
Normally, I'm always in an eviction,
Yeah.
And now I haven't had an eviction in months, and all my rents are paid
Yeah.
month after month before the 5th.
Didn't you even have like a shooting at your property at some
I
point?
did. Yeah. Unfortunately, man. Unfortunately.
What happened there?
So while we were renovating it, two guys were outside of the complex, and somebody did a drive-by shooting, and they got hit, and they ran into one of our units, and they were just bleeding there, dude.
Bleeding in your unit.
Yes.
So you go and you clean it up and you have a blood scene in your apartment.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. But thank God they didn't die or anything. They were young guys too, man, like
Yeah.
15, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Did they ever find out what the drive-by shooting was about? It was like just gang affiliation or something?
probably gang affiliation,
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
rougher side of town.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you could
Wow.
expect that type of stuff there.
Of
So.
course. And so, did the police have to come and wrap it up? Was it a crime scene or
Oh,
anything like that?
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were, I believe, the news
News came
people.
over?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the news channel was out there.
Yeah, you didn't come out on camera?
Nah,
No.
I'm
Didn't want that
good.
publicity. huh?
Exactly. I don't want that type of publicity.
No,
you
not
know.
at all. Not at all.
But yeah, man. Thank God nobody. They didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't fatal.
Glad,
So,
yeah, glad they survived.
Mm-hmm.
So, so good management. No evictions in the last couple of months. That's pretty impressive, even in that side of town, right?
Yeah, but that could change tomorrow, bro.
Yeah.
That could change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything could change. You could have 10 contracts today. Tomorrow, all 10 could go to hell.
Yeah.
You could have a great portfolio today. Next week, you got people, somebody might burn a house down or might just bounce out of nowhere,
Yeah.
So, yeah, for now, it's been going good, man.
Good.
So,
Good. What about the wholesale stuff? How's that going for you?
it's going pretty good.
You said you closed another 200 grand or something. It was a land deal also.
Yeah, so earlier this year, we closed like a $260,000 wholesale deal
Mm-hmm.
for raw land,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's something that a lot of people are not really
Targeting.
they're really not targeting it, man.
Yeah.
It's usually, look, the biggest deals are for land.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, is typically big plots of land or luxury lots.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, it was a luxury lot. So this was out in Scottsdale, Arizona. You know, SMS blast as well.
Mhm.
We text blasted this lady. She came back at, she wanted 600 for this lot, like a 1 acre lot. We offered 400, met in the middle at 500, met in the middle at 500. And we found a buyer for that deal for $777,000.
777.
The 777.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're doing business in Houston and you don't have a great title company, I highly recommend you guys to use Natalie Murillo with Black Label Title. They were awarded the best title company in 2026 by Houston Latino Magazine. But I think what's truly impactful of working with Natalie is that her title company can do pass-through funding for A to B closings. If you're an investor, this is very important to you because it means that you don't need to have your own funds to be able to finance an A to B closing on a double close. You can use the funds from the C to B to fund A to B transaction. If you don't understand what that means, reach out to Natalie. She can explain it all to you. More importantly, you can make a very big assignment fee without your buyer or your seller finding out what that fee is. So it's a great opportunity to get with a investor-friendly title company. They also do blind HUDs, assignments, novations, subject to wraps. And so they close in all Texas counties, right? So they can do e-signing. You don't even have to have a closing in the title company, right? They do CE classes. Listen, guys, if you're wholesaling or you're investing in Texas, you need to call Natalie Murillo with Black Label Title. And the link for Natalie is going to be in the show notes. So the number for Natalie Murillo is 936-442-8486. Make sure you mention Josue Llanas with Pick Up the Phone podcast. If you're a real estate investor anywhere in the United States, you need to listen up. GetHardMoney.com is a free platform for real estate investors. You can find local hard money, connect with the lender directly, request term sheets, and chat all in one single place. What I really like about the website is that they have free tools. They have built-in AI comping. They have flip property calculators. They have cash to close calculators. Everything's 100% free. You don't even need to sign up to be able to use their calculators, which I find extremely useful whenever I'm running numbers on a property. So it's going to be free all the time, no cost ever. So if you're investing and you need a lender or connections or you need deal analysis tools, it's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer sign up. So the way to sign up is you go to gethardmoney.com and the link is going to be in the show notes.
Yeah, man, that one was a good one,
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So SMS blast also. So
every six-figure deal that I've ever done has come through an SMS blast.
Really?
Every single one.
Interesting. What platform do you use for SMS blast?
We use Launch Control.
Launch Control.
Yeah.
And so you're also doing nationwide targeting for this, or?
So we're doing not nationwide, but certain markets that we know that are pretty solid, right? That have good margins. Typically, we're looking at we like to work in markets where the new construction value of a house would be north of $500,000.
Right.
Right. That means that there's some serious interest. Yeah, serious interest in that market.
Right.
And there has to be new construction. You know. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and so Launch Control, SMS blast. How are you getting around all of the DNC litigations? How are you not getting sued? How are you getting around all that?
I've been sued.
Yeah.
I've been sued for that for sure.
Yeah.
But how I see it, you have to pay to play.
Yeah.
You got to pay to play, man.
Of course.
If the business is if that particular marketing channel is bringing, has generated you millions, then what's 5, 10, 20 grand, in a lawsuit, to settle.
Right.
But no, typically Launch Control does that for you. They remove all the DNCs.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. But it happens though, you might still get sued for that,
Yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, no, they take care of everything, man.
Launch Control does?
Yeah. They take care of all the DNCs, make sure that you're not, targeting anybody. They put the opt-out form. The opt-out, text and
so for the most part, they make it compliant, right?
Exactly.
The text is compliant through
That's
the
correct.
system. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also, I think they have like alternate messages that are being sent out
That's correct.
to whenever you're doing the marketing,
Yes.
so that it can't be so that the carriers won't block it.
Exactly. That way you don't get flagged.
Right.
Yeah. That was a big problem.
Yeah.
That was a huge problem for us many years ago, man.
What's
Because
that?
we used to do Roar. You remember
Oh,
Roar?
yeah, I remember Roar. Yeah.
Roar was
It was
an animal,
it was a beast.
dude. We'd be able to text blast 50,000 text messages
Like
like
that.
that
Yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
but
But then
they caught on.
The numbers would get actually, you know, at the beginning, I don't remember the carriers like blocking all the numbers right away.
Yeah.
We got through for a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work sifting through all those text messages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
Those were the good
cheap.
times, man.
They were cheap too.
Woof. Yeah.
Like less than a penny to send out. a
Exactly.
text.
Yeah. But then the carriers, they
caught on.
they caught on, man.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're protecting the consumers. But,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know, whenever you're doing marketing in real estate, you know, it's sort of a gray area, right? Because we're not soliciting for anything. We're offering cash.
Exactly.
It's a little
We're buying something.
We're buying something. Yeah. We're not looking to sell. We're looking to buy. So,
100%.
But of course, you know the legality of that. We're not attorneys, so
Yeah.
go
Consult your own attorney, please.
consult your own attorney. Full disclaimer. Yeah, bro, that's incredible. So what's next for you right now in this part of your business?
So I would say probably, keep the wholesale business going. So this year we're at $1,025,000
Nice.
for the year already. So we have, we got some pretty good closings happening this month. So we should end off somewhere near maybe 1.2 million. So just keep that going. Keep the cash flow coming in, right, through the wholesale. But probably new construction, man. Next year, I kind of want to dive into the new construction world. I've been wholesaling 10 years now, man. So, it's fine, but it's
a hustle.
It's a hustle. Yeah. And even if you got people working for you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end, like when it comes to wholesaling, you're still the ultimate decision maker, right? At the end of the day, if there's an issue in the business, the people can't solve the issue by themselves entirely.
Exactly.
You're still the bottleneck of the business.
100%.
What that does is that it ends up just you being in a high-paying job. Wholesaling is what it is, high-paying job.
Exactly.
It's an amazing high-paying job. It's great. It's a lot of money. But at the end of the day, it's not, in my opinion, it's not something that's like truly, besides like someone like Nick Perry, who's like stabilized it and like has everything completely delegated. But most people that I see in wholesaling, for the vast majority of it, don't have a business. They have a high-paying job. And
Exactly.
It's so tough, man. It is tough.
Yeah.
But I think that could be said for any business, out there.
1,000%. Yeah, it is a high paying job. It's a good paying job though. It's one of those things. But
It's very good paid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, I think it's a stepping stone, into everything else.
For sure.
Because if it wasn't for wholesaling, I probably wouldn't own any real estate or do any flips or have closed 5 good amount of deals, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's there to serve a purpose, basically.
Yeah. Let's talk about your you spoke about your coaching student, who made a deal. He did $105,000 from his first
Yeah.
call.
Yeah. That was crazy. That was nuts.
That's insane, dude.
It's insane.
Yeah. So happy for that guy, bro.
Yeah.
So what did he do after that? What did that student do after that?
He started fixing and flipping houses, I believe.
With that money?
Yeah. This was a long time ago, man. This is probably like 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
You've been running your coaching program for a while, huh?
Yeah, man. I've been teaching. I've helped a lot of people get into real estate, man. Why lie? I got just this year I had another student of mine. His name is Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
He started with me back in January, and we did the marketing. So because when it comes to mentorship, like I'm in charge of your marketing. You bring me marketing budget, I'm gonna go ahead and spend it for you, right?
Right.
And he came across a deal, and he pocketed like $100,000 on it. He just closed like not too long ago. $100,000 on a novation deal.
On a novation
deal, yeah. So,
Jeez.
it's honestly, this is the shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely the shortcut. Getting a mentor is yeah, that's a shortcut to actually speed up the process.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that $5,000 investment that I made back in 2019, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Of course.
Yeah. And all the other mentorships that I've done in the, after that,
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
That's amazing, man. So when it comes to the budget that they put with you, what kind of investment do they have in your program?
So typically they go ahead and they pay me, 10, 15 grand personally, and they put up 10 grand in marketing. That marketing, that 10 grand in marketing gets spent on SMS blasts and direct mail, and cold calling if necessary. But yeah, just with SMS blasts and direct mail, you should get a deal pretty quick. So I help them spend that money. So they go ahead and spend it. It's not like I take their money and spend it myself. No, I teach them how to actually spend the money, how to buy a list, how to get a list skip traced, and send out the marketing. And I would help them actually lock up deals and sell those deals.
Yeah.
We do like weekly phone calls, weekly Zoom calls, 2 calls a week, and yeah, I'm basically their business partner. I'm their business partner for 6 to 12 months. So.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
So it's a long period of time then.
Yeah. The mentorship it's 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
that's a good timeline. I mean, it doesn't. When it comes to real estate, it's not quick to be able to get a deal.
It's not. No, not at all.
No.
Yeah, and then you have cancellation rates as well for contracts. Like 50% of the contracts that you lock up are not going to close.
Right.
Yeah. So I try to factor that in. That's why I say at least 6 months. 6 to 12 months is a pretty good timeline to really learn the business and catch a stride. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's pretty impactful. My gears are turning now, even like on turning on launch control. We generate a lot of leads with cold calling, but shoot, I could even generate the leads with launch control and offer it to the clients also.
Those same lists that you cold call,
Yeah.
you should be text blasting them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's powerful, man.
Not only
It's
that,
nuts.
but I already have a quality control department that could go through and go through the text messages, find the people that are actually motivated, and then send it over to the client. And then,
100%.
All right, go text these people, call these people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now you're hitting them from all angles,
Right.
So we just started on this new CRM, Salesforce, and what we're gonna be integrating now is a direct mail drip sequence.
Direct from Salesforce.
Direct from Salesforce. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's sick.
So we have drip sequences where you automatically text sellers and send them emails, send them voicemails. But now we're going to go into sending them mail as well. So the goal is to get them back into the conversation of selling their property, and yeah. So I think going back in time, like I probably would have done that like much faster. I didn't start setting up sequences, until like maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago. If I
Right.
would have done that from the start, man, who knows where I'd be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Absolutely.
But yeah, very important.
You just gotta have different. I like to see it as like marketing tentacles, right? And
It is.
Yeah. When it comes to marketing, especially in real estate, it's always important to target them from different angles.
Exactly.
Target them from different angles, and you can get a lot more done.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to respond different to different types of marketing. So like people in the country, they might respond to a letter.
Yeah.
Instead of a text message. So you really got to hit them from all angles, because you could generate a bunch of leads. You could generate a bunch of leads, but if they don't have that drip sequence happening, they're just gonna fall through the cracks. Like how many leads have you seen in your CRM where you go back and you check and see that it sold,
Oh, dude, that's the worst feeling ever.
and sometimes it sells lower than what you offered.
Yeah.
It sucks, bro.
Yeah.
It's not good. So you got to have that little aspect. So for any aspiring, wholesalers out there that you have a system in place, please get that integrated into your system, an automated drip sequence for people that you can't get in touch with, drip text, email, RVM them every 2-3 days. For people that you've made an offer that didn't get accepted,
Yeah.
drip text, email, RVM them every 7 days.
Yeah.
You know,
What system were you using before Salesforce?
Podio.
Podio.
Yeah.
Have you heard of GoHighLevel?
Yeah. I have GoHighLevel right now also, but for the coaching side.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
cool.
I love GoHighLevel.
Yeah.
So I built it all out for real estate specifically, and
Nice.
bro, the automations that I have built out on GoHighLevel are sick.
Is it?
I have a
Got it.
scoring system. So whenever a lead comes in, if they need to sell between 0 to 30 days, I give it a 5 points. If they need to sell between 30 to 60, I give them 4 points. 60 to 90, 3, 90 and above, like 2, right? And it goes on and on. But what that does is, depending on the lead scoring system that it has, will trigger a different automation, a different drip sequence for it.
Gotcha.
So the higher ones are going to have more drip sequences going like right away, hitting them right away. And then like if it has a lower point, oh, that's a long-term kind of nurture. They're not really motivated.
That's not bad, dude.
Yeah. So it's and it does it automatically. It's programmed in a way so that it can remove user error as much as possible, so that the system does the job for you. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's smart, man. Yeah,
It's
you gotta have some automation involved, man.
A lot of automation.
It's one of those things.
Yeah. So cool, bro. Well, this is a great time right here. I really appreciate you coming out.
Likewise, man. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. How can people find out about you if they want to find out about you, your journey, and maybe your coaching?
For sure. Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram. It's Willny Gaffaro. And I post a lot of cool stuff on there, a lot of tips and whatnot. And in my school community, I have a free course as well, just helping people, do deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot again for being here, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for having me.
Yes, sir.